by this time, we've learned what linear velocity is, right? So let's say if this is the trajectory of a particle, let's say there is a particle moving along this trajectory, right? And O is an observer, say a fixed observer, say O is a fixed observer, then the particle is measured as seen by O using this position vector r. R is the position vector of the particle at P. R will be a function of time. R will be a function of time, right? Say for example, R could have been, say, T squared I cap plus T cube J cap. R a function of time, right? And what we've learned is that the rate of change of R with time is velocity. Rate of change of R with time is velocity, right? This is what we learned. So velocity we learned, which is also called the linear velocity of the particle, which is also called the linear velocity of the particle, which is like 2t I cap, for example, in this case, and 3t squared j cap, for example, right? So velocity could also be a function of time, and then we differentiate v with respect to time, we get the acceleration, right? So acceleration would be rate of change of velocity with time. This is dr dt, rate of change of position with time, and acceleration is rate of change of velocity with time. If I differentiate this with respect to time, I get like a 2i cap plus 6t j cap. Yes or no? And if this is the actual trajectory of the particle, what we have learned in kinematics is that the velocity vector will always be along the tangent to the trajectory at the corresponding point. The velocity vector will always be along the tangent to the trajectory. This vector v will always be along the tangent from point to point, right? So at every point, the velocity vector will be along the tangent. This is the velocity vector here, that's the velocity vector there, and so on and so forth, right? Now, what I'm going to discuss today is, so this is about the linear entities involved in motion. This is about the linear entities involved in the motion. But then, as seen by this observer, the particle P is at various points, at various instants of time, right? Now, the line joining the particle to the observer. This is the line joining the particle to the observer. The particle P is here, and then the particle P could have been there an instant later, and this is my observer. This is the line joining the observer to the particle. The line joining the observer to the particle, right? This, you realize, is getting reoriented with time. The line joining, right? The vector OP, RT is getting reoriented with time. Yes or no? And this angle theta is changing with time. This angle theta is changing with time, right? So there must be something that measures the rate of change of this theta with time. There is something that must measure the rate of change of this theta with time. And the rate at which this theta changes with time, d theta dt, the rate at which this theta changes with time is called the angular velocity as seen by O. Of P with respect to the observer O. With respect to the observer O, and is commonly designated by the symbol omega. Rate at which this theta changes with time, that's the angular velocity. D theta is in radians and dt is in seconds. So the unit of omega is radians per second. Now, That's as far as the angular velocity is concerned, but this, realize, gives me only the magnitude of the angular velocity. This only gives me the magnitude of the angular velocity. The moment I'm saying it's a velocity, that means, there must be a direction associated with it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you a generalized digression on what it means by angular velocity vector. What it means by angular velocity vector in general motion. In general motion, what it means by the angular velocity vector. One thing that I need to tell you is, so far so good. So do you understand what I'm trying to, where I'm trying to take you? I'm trying to take you to the notion of angular velocity. Given that we already understand what linear velocity is and what linear acceleration is, we want to understand what angular velocity is. Angular velocity in principle measures how the position vector is getting reoriented with time. How the position vector is getting reoriented with time, right? Also, need to understand that, there is this angle theta which is measured. The angle is always measured with respect to a reference line, right? Now, for example, this is a line, and I want to measure theta. I could measure the theta with respect to, let's say, some fixed line OP. This line, right? This could be a certain fixed line, OP naught, for example, right? Now, it does not matter whether my reference line, see, angles are always measured with respect to a reference line, isn't it? This is a reference line. The theta could be measured with respect to this reference line, or the theta could be measured with respect to some other reference line, right? For example, I could have had theta. This is one possible reference line. I could have had another reference line, which is, say, OP1. Thetas could have been measured also with respect to OP1. The thetas could also be measured with respect to some other reference line, OP1. Now, this theta is referred to as an angular displacement. This theta is referred to as an angular displacement of the particle. This is referred to as an angular displacement of the particle. Now, obviously, the angular displacement will depend on what I choose as my reference line. If I choose this as my reference line, this would be my theta. If I choose this as my reference line, then this will be my theta, right? But so I would rather not call it angular displacement. I would rather call it angular position. I would rather call it angular position of the particle. I would rather call it angular position of the particle, right? Instead of calling it angular displacement, let's call it angular position. So the angular position will depend on what my reference line is, right? But do you realize that, say, this is a reference line, right? This is, say, for example, a reference line, right? After a while, the particle is here. After a while, a particle is here. This is its angular position. The particle goes from P to P prime, say. And this is its angular position as seen by this reference line. RL is reference line. Hey, but in a small time dt from this, the angular position would have changed by a small amount. The particle would have come to, say, P double prime. The particle would have arrived at P double prime, and then there is a change in theta. There is a change in theta, which is d theta. D theta is the change in angular position, right? And this d theta does not depend on the reference line. That's a change in theta, right? I mean, if instead of this being the reference line, if I had this as my reference line, and theta was measured this way, then d theta will still be this. It does not depend, it's a change in theta. That will not depend on what my reference line was. Right? So if this was the reference line, this would be my angular position. If this was my reference line, this would be my angular position. But when the particle went from P prime to P double prime, there is a change in theta, which is this angle, which does not depend on what my choice of reference line was, right? So it's really independent of the reference line. D theta will be independent of the reference line. Theta will depend on the reference line, But d theta, which is change in theta, will be independent of the reference line. And what I'm seeking to do is, I'm seeking to measure the rate of change of theta with time. D theta dt with time is what I'm trying to measure. D theta is the angular displacement. Change in theta is the angular displacement. Theta is the angular position, but d theta is the rate. D theta is the change in angular position divided by the time taken. Change in angular position divided by the time taken, that's referred to as the angular velocity omega, measured in radians per second. Measured in radians per second. Now. So when the particle went from p prime to p double prime, this was my angular displacement. D theta is my angular displacement. Change in angular position is angular displacement. D theta is the angular displacement. dt is the time it took for that angular displacement. Now, that's the magnitude of the angular velocity. That's the magnitude of the angular velocity. What about the direction of the angular velocity? So, in this case, for example, the particle went from p prime to p double prime, say. The particle went from p prime to p double prime. And this was my d theta, the angular displacement. What we do is, we take our fingers of the right hand, and curl them in the sense of d theta. In this case, the sense of d theta is anti-clockwise. In this case, the sense of d theta is anti-clockwise. We curl our fingers of the right hand in the sense of d theta. See, d theta has taken place this way, anti-clockwise in this figure, and observe our thumb. In this case, the thumb comes out of the plane of the board. In this case, if the angular displacement d theta is anti-clockwise, the thumb comes out of the plane of the board. The direction of the angular velocity vector is out of the plane of the board in this case. If d theta is like this, if the particle went from p prime to p double prime, and this was my d theta, the change in theta. D theta is the change in theta, right? Which is anti-clockwise. If this is anti-clockwise, then observe the thumb. Curl your fingers in the sense of d theta. In this case, d theta is anti-clockwise. Curl your fingers in the sense of d theta and observe your thumb. In this case, it comes out of the plane of the board. So in this case, for this figure, the direction of omega is out of the plane of the board. In this case, the direction of omega is actually a vector. Call it the angular velocity vector. Whose magnitude is this? Whose magnitude is this? The angular velocity vector in this case has a direction which is out of the plane of the board. Out of the plane of the board in this case, right? This was my observer O. If in contrast, the particle was doing this, if this was my observer, and the particle was going from, say, this p prime to p double prime, this way, right? Then, this is my angular displacement d theta. This is my angular displacement d theta, which has happened clockwise. In this case, d theta is clockwise. If the angular displacement is clockwise, we then say, again, curl your fingers in the sense of d theta. Right hand, don't use your left hand. Right hand, curl your fingers in the sense of d theta. The thumb goes into the plane of the board. So in this case, omega would be into the plane of the board. The direction of omega would be, angular velocity vector would be into the plane of the board. Into the plane of the board. That's the direction of omega, right? So very clearly, angular velocity is a vector. So we look at angular velocity in a planar sense only right now, all right? Not in a spatial or a 3D sense. We'll look at angular velocity in a planar sense, at least to begin with. So rate at which theta changes with time, that's the magnitude of angular velocity, right? The direction of angular velocity is obtained by the right hand rule, Observe the sense in which the reorientation is occurring. In this case, the sense in which theta is changing is anti-clockwise. Curl your fingers in that sense and observe your thumb. And thumb points out of the plane of the board, so the direction of the angular velocity vector is out of the plane of the board. In this case, the direction of the angular velocity vector is into the plane of the board. So you use the right hand rule, curl your fingers in the sense of angular displacement and observe your thumb, right? So that's a beginner level understanding of what I really mean by angular velocity in plane motion. Angular velocity in plane motion, right? Now, let me get into computation of omega. That's the concept of omega. Let's get into computation of omega. Okay. Of omega, the angular velocity vector. All right. Say there is a fixed observer. There's a fixed observer. And there is a particle P. This is the line joining the observer to the particle P, right? This is my R, the position vector of the particle as seen by O. Now, if the particle moves in this direction, if the particle is moving in this direction, P to P prime, say, along the line joining the particle to the observer, if the particle moves in the same direction, right, then do you realize that the vector OP is not getting reoriented with time? There is no angular displacement as seen by O, right? The vector OP in this case is not getting reoriented with time. OP is not getting reoriented with time, right? If OP is not getting reoriented, that means there is no angular velocity of the particle. That means as seen by O, see, angular velocity depends on who's my observer. It depends on who my observer is. So in this case, do you realize that the particle as seen by O is not getting reoriented with time? The vector OP is not rotating about O. So in this case, what would be the angular velocity of the particle as seen by O? 0. So in this case, we say that the angular velocity of the particle is 0, because the vector OP is not getting angularly displaced as seen by O, right? However, if I change my observer, if this is my observer O, say call it O1 is some other observer, right? Now this observer, this is the initial position of the particle, this is the final position of the particle. Do you see that this time the line joining the observer to the particle is getting reoriented with time? So there is a non-zero angular velocity associated here. There is a non-zero angular velocity as seen by this observer. The angular velocity as seen by this observer is 0. Yes or no? So the angular velocity will really depend on who the observer is, right? Now, surely, if the particle has a velocity, say if this was my observer, in this case the velocity of the particle is along R, right? In this case that means V is parallel to R, the position vector of the particle. And if V is parallel to R, omega must be 0. Yes or no? If V is parallel to R, then omega must be 0. Angular velocity vector must be 0. Right? Now, can I wipe this off? This is a fixed observer. This is a fixed observer. Okay. And there is a particle P that has a velocity perpendicular to OP. This is magnitude of the velocity. This is V is the magnitude of the velocity. The velocity vector is V, and the magnitude of this velocity vector is V. The magnitude of this velocity vector is V. Right? And V is perpendicular to the line joining the particle to the observer, is perpendicular to OP. Right? Now, realize that this is the fixed observer. This is the fixed observer. This is the particle P. Now, this is the position of the particle as seen by the observer, right? Now, in a small time dt, P will come to P prime, and its displacement is going to be V dt, isn't it? It'll undergo a small displacement V dt like this, yes or no? Which I can call as ds. That is its small displacement perpendicular to OP. Its small displacement perpendicular to OP. Yes or no? V dt, right? Perpendicular to OP. Now, do you realize that OP has got reoriented with in a small time dt? OP was this. Now this is my new OP, right? So there is an angular displacement which is d theta, which is this. There is an angular displacement, in this case anti-clockwise, of an amount d theta, angular displacement in the anti-clockwise by an amount d theta, anti-clockwise for this figure, right? And do you realize this angle is 90 degrees? This angle is 90 degrees. And OP is of length r. OP is of length r. That's OP of length r. Tan of d theta. Tan of d theta is what? V dt by r, ds by r. Now, tan of an angle which is very small is approximately equal to alpha. Tan, if alpha is in radians, then tan alpha is approximately equal to alpha when alpha is very small. When alpha is very small, tan theta will be theta, sin theta will be theta when theta is very small and in radians. So d theta is very small, an infinitesimally small number. So tan of d theta will be d theta, right? So this would mean d theta equal to ds, which is v dt divided by r. Yes or no? But d theta dt is the angular velocity of the particle. Yes or no? So d theta dt is v by r, the angular velocity of the particle, where v is the linear velocity perpendicular to OP. V is the linear velocity perpendicular to OP. No, there is no mention of circle. Just look at it very generally. Linear velocity perpendicular to OP divided by the separation between O and P. That's the angular velocity of P as seen by O. That's the angular velocity of the particle P as seen by O. Yes or no? Do you understand that? So, if there is a fixed observer and there is a particle whose velocity is perpendicular to the line joining the observer to the particle, and the separation at this instant of time is r, then the angular velocity of P as seen by O is going to be given by V, which is the velocity perpendicular to OP divided by the separation between O and P. Yes or no? And in this case, the direction, since OP is getting reoriented in this sense, anti-clockwise sense, in this case OP is getting reoriented. So in this case, for the figure that I have shown, omega would be out of the plane of the board. Omega would be out of the omega vector would have direction out of the plane of the board for the figure that I have drawn. No, this is the velocity at this instant of time, and this is the angular velocity at this instant of time, where V is the velocity perpendicular at this instant. Then this will be the angular velocity at this instant, right? So, no, nothing is fixed, everything is varying, right? At this instant, V is the velocity perpendicular to OP. That means if at a given instant of time, this is an observer O, and there is a particle P whose velocity perpendicular to OP is 10 meters per second, and the separation between O and P is say 5 meters, then the angular velocity of the particle as seen by O is going to be given by V by R, which is 10 by 5, which is 2 radians per second. 2 radians per second would be the angular velocity. And for the figure that I have drawn, omega would be out of the plane of the, omega vector would be out of the plane of the board. If the particle had a velocity downward 10 meters per second, then omega would have been into the plane of the board. Then OP is getting reoriented in this sense, clockwise sense. The thumb points into the plane of the board and the omega vector would be into the plane of the board. Yes or no? No. Now, so far so good, right? Can I wipe this off? This was my fixed observer O. This was my fixed observer O, right? This was my particle P. This was my particle P. But this time, say it had a velocity at this instant. V was its velocity, not perpendicular to OP. This time it has a velocity not perpendicular to OP. But let's say its velocity was making an angle theta with OP. This velocity vector V, angle between V and the vector OP, right? The vector OP, the direction of OP is like this. The direction of OP, the vector OP is like this. The direction of the velocity vector is like this. What is theta? Theta is the angle between V and OP. OP is my position vector R. V and OP include an angle theta. Theta is shown. Now, very clearly, I could have resolved V as V cos theta parallel to OP. This is the velocity component parallel to OP. Yes or no? And V could have been resolved perpendicular to OP. This is the component of the velocity perpendicular to OP. I call it V perpendicular. Right? And say the separation between the particle and the observer is R. P is the particle, O is my observer, and that's equal to R. Now, this time I want to compute the angular velocity of the particle as seen by O. A V cos theta will not contribute to angular velocity, right? But V sin theta would. So then this time the angular velocity of the particle as seen by O is going to be V perpendicular divided by R, which is like V sin theta divided by R. Yes or no? Got me? V sin theta divided by R. And in this case, do you realize that V sin theta will cause OP to rotate this way? V sin theta would cause the line joining the particle and the observer to swivel this way. So omega would be out of the plane of the board. Omega would be out of the plane of the board. Yes or no? Now, do you also realize that this is the vector r. OP is the vector r. OP is like this. This was O, this was P. This is the direction of r. This is the direction of r, the position of the particle as seen by the observer. This was my velocity vector v making an angle theta with r. This was my velocity vector making an angle theta with r. R was what? The position vector of the particle as seen by O. R was what? The position vector of the particle as seen by O. Yes or no? Now, so this v, you know, this is the magnitude of v, but this is the velocity vector v, which I have shown here, right? Now notice that for this figure, do you realize the omega was, because OP was swiveling anti-clockwise, omega was out of the plane of the board, right? Do you realize if I did a cross product of R and V, R cross V is a vector? R cross V is perpendicular to the plane containing R and V. R cross V is perpendicular to the plane containing R and V, yes or no? And how do you obtain the direction of R cross V? Hey, the direction of R cross V, realize, take a screw and rotate the screw from R to V. It will come out of the plane of the board. Do you realize that? R cross V comes out of the plane of the board, yes or no? Right? That means, and in this case, omega also comes out of the plane of the board. So do you realize that the direction of the omega vector and direction of R cross V is the same? Yes or no? The direction of R cross V and the direction of the omega vector is the same, yes or no? Right? Which means R cross V in this case comes out of the plane of the board. R cross V comes out of the plane of the board. Which means the direction of R cross V is the same as direction of omega. That means omega and R cross V are parallel vectors. Omega and R cross V are parallel vectors. The omega vector will always be parallel to R cross V. Will always be parallel to R cross V. Yes or no? If omega is parallel to R cross V, omega is parallel to R cross V. If two vectors are parallel, if A and B are two parallel vectors, if A and B are two parallel vectors, then if A parallel to B, can I say that A must be some K times B, where K is a scalar, K is a scalar, right? If these two vectors are parallel to each other, then omega must be a scalar times R cross V. Omega must be a scalar times R cross V. That means the omega vector must be a scalar K times R cross V. K is a positive scalar. Yes or no? Right? Now, I need to find the value of K. I need to find the value of K. Clear? Let me take the magnitude of both sides. Magnitude of omega is, K is a positive number, K is a positive scalar. So K times magnitude of R cross V. Yes or no? Magnitude of omega is V sin theta by R. Right? This is magnitude of the omega is V sin theta by R equals K. Magnitude of r cross v is magnitude of r, which is r, magnitude of v, which is v, into sine of the angle between r and v. Yes or no? Right? So k then turns out to be 1 by r squared. See, v sine theta will get cancelled. So then k turns out to be 1 by r squared. R is the magnitude of the position of the particle P as seen by O. R is this length, separation between the particle and the observer, right? Right. So 1 by this r square is a scalar. This was a vector, but magnitude of r is r, right? So k turns out to be 1 by r squared. Very good. So now I know the omega vector. I know the omega vector. What's the omega vector? K, which is 1 by r squared into r cross v, right? So the omega vector is going to be given by, so now I have a one-shot representation of the omega vector itself, right? Omega vector is going to be, omega vector is r cross v by r squared. Yes or no? That's the angular velocity vector? That's the angular velocity vector, yes or no? Right? Which means now we are very well placed. So far so good. So you remember this angular velocity of a particle as seen by an observer O, where r is the position vector of the particle as seen by that observer, v is the velocity of the particle as seen by that observer, and small r is the separation between the particle and the observer, right? That'll give me in one shot the angular velocity vector, right? Now, can I wipe this off, this portion? Good. Say for example, there is a particle moving in the xy plane, and say this is the origin. There is a particle moving in the xy plane and this is the origin. At a certain instant of time, the particle is here and the particle has coordinates 2, 3 are the coordinates of the particle in the xy plane. And say the particle has a velocity. The particle has a velocity which is, say, 5I cap plus j cap is the velocity vector of the particle, say in meters per second, right? I need to find the angular velocity of the particle as seen by O. Now, OP is what? OP is r, the position vector of the particle as seen by the origin. If 2, 3 are the coordinates of P, what is r? 2I cap plus 3j cap. That's OP, which is r, right? Small r is what? Magnitude of r, which is root 13, root 2 squared plus 3 squared. Root 13 is r, the separation between O and P. OP is r, the vector OP is r, right? And then, how do I compute the angular velocity? R cross V by r squared, right? Omega is computed as r cross V divided by r squared. That's the omega vector. That's the omega vector, right? R cross V means 2I cap plus 3j cap cross V, which is 5I cap plus j cap, divided by r squared. R is this, so r square would be 13. 13. Yes or no? Now, I can perform this cross product. Let me perform this cross product. So I cap cross I cap is 0, either using the determinant or in this case even directly. I cross I cap will be 0. I cross j would be k. So we have 2k, right? J cross I minus k. J cross I would be minus k. So I get like a minus 15k cap, right? And j cross j is 0 divided by r squared, which is 13. So that's like a minus 13 k cap by 30 by 13, which is minus k cap. Yes or no? Do you all understand what I did here? I cross I is 0. I cross j is k, so 2k cap. J cross I is minus k, so this is minus 15k cap. And j cross j is 0. So 2k cap minus 15k cap minus 13k cap by r squared. R squared is the square of the distance between P and O, which is 13. So which is minus k cap. So the direction of omega is in the negative z direction. The direction of the omega vector is in the negative z direction. What's the magnitude of omega? 1. In this case, the magnitude of omega is 1 radian per second, but the direction is in the negative z direction. Do you all understand this? Right? Now, what we do is, again, let me tell you that the observer O could itself be moving. The observer O could itself be moving. Do you all understand this? Omega vector is r cross v by r squared. R is the position of the particle as seen by O. V is the velocity of the particle as seen by velocity vector divided by square of the separation between the two. Now, can I wipe this off? So it depends. Suppose this was my x-axis, this was my y-axis. So x cross y will give me z. In this case, if this was my x and this was my y, z comes out of the plane of the board. So in this case, minus z would be into the plane of the board. So you can also see, this is r, this is v, this is the direction of r, this is the direction of r, this is the direction of v, and do you realize r cross v goes into the plane of the board, which is the negative z direction, right? Because if this was my x, this was my y, x cross y will give me the direction of z. Z plus z is coming out of the plane of the board, right? Do you all understand everything that I have said here? Right? So I'm trying to give you a very general feel for omega, a vectorial feel for omega, which in one shot gives me both the magnitude and direction, this expression, right? Now, what if O also had motion? The observer also had motion, suppose. Can I wipe this off? Say, this was my O, and this was the particle P. O had velocity v1 like this, perpendicular to OP, and P had velocity v2 perpendicular to OP, and R was the separation between the two. R was the separation between the two, right? In this case, this situation, if I treat O as an observer, if I fix O, then I would have to redefine the velocity of P. The velocity of P now would be velocity of P as seen by O. It's not going to be v2, it's going to be v2 minus v1. So on a relative scale, the velocity of P will no longer be v2, but is going to be v2 minus v1 perpendicular to OP. It's going to be v2 minus v1 perpendicular to OP. And if this is R, so it's as if equivalently O is at rest and P is having a velocity v2 minus v1 perpendicular to OP. Then the angular velocity of P as seen by O is going to be v2 minus v1 divided by R, which is what? Which is relative velocity perpendicular to OP divided by OP, right? Which is relative velocity of P perpendicular to OP of P with respect to O perpendicular to OP. OP is the line joining the particle and the observer divided by OP. So what contributes to angular velocity? Relative velocity perpendicular to the line joining the particle and the observer. Now in this case, OP as seen by O is swiveling this way, anti-clockwise. So omega comes out of the plane of the board for the figure that I have drawn, right? I could have had a situation like this. O was like this. It had a velocity v1 making an angle theta 1 with the line joining O to P, and P had a velocity v2. This is theta 2. I now want to compute the angular velocity of P as seen by O, right? So first of all, let me resolve their velocities. Velocity of P as seen by O velocity of P, absolute velocity along the line joining O and P would be V2 cos theta 2 along OP, and V2 sin theta 2, right? This V1 cos theta 1 along OP and V1 sin theta 1 perpendicular to OP. Right? Now, very clearly, V1 cos theta 1 and V2 cos theta 2 does not result in reorientation of OP, right? It only results in change of separation between O and P, but not rotation of OP, right? These two velocities will not cause OP to reorient or rotate. It is only components perpendicular to OP that participate in production of omega, right? So in this case, omega of P as seen by O is going to be given by relative velocity perpendicular to OP. What is relative velocity perpendicular to OP? V2 sin theta 2 minus V1 sin theta 1 divided by R, which is OP. That's going to be the angular velocity, right? And this is in this sense. So if V2 sin theta 2 minus V1 sin theta 1 is positive, then OP will rotate this way. That means if this velocity is more than this velocity, then OP will reorient itself anti-clockwise, right? That means P will be higher than O. Do you realize what I'm saying? I'll conceptually explain this. Look, so first of all, the only velocities that participate in production of omega is velocity components perpendicular to OP. So let's not, so suppose O was like this, P was like this. O had a velocity 5 meters per second perpendicular to OP, and P had a velocity say 10 meters per second perpendicular to OP, and say the separation between them was 5 meters. Okay. Now, would you realize that effectively what is happening? Effectively, after a while, O will be here, but P would be higher. After a while, O would have moved up, P would have also moved up with respect to the original OP. That means this would be the new OP. Do you realize that? Because P has a higher velocity perpendicular to OP compared to O. So P goes this way. That means OP has swiveled like this anti-clockwise. OP has swiveled anti-clockwise. So omega is anti-clockwise. That means omega comes out of the plane of the board. But, so in this case, omega of P as seen by O is going to be 10 minus 5 by 5, which is 1 radian per second anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise, but in terms of direction, the omega vector comes, if it is anti-clockwise, the omega vector would be out of the plane of the board. Right? Out of the plane of the board. But suppose it was just the other way around. O was here, and O had a velocity, say, 10 meters per second this way, and P had a velocity 5 meters per second this way. It's as if I have to look at the velocity of P as seen by O, if I think of O being fixed, and I have to think of the velocity of P as seen by O, that's going to be minus 5 meters, 5 minus 10, which is minus 5 meters per second this way. Minus 5 upwards is like 5 downwards. That means effectively, if O is like this, P is like this, it's as if P as seen by O has a velocity 5 meters per second this way. That means OP is getting reoriented in this sense, clockwise, and in this case omega would be into the plane of the board. Omega is into the plane of the board in this case. Into the plane of the board. Yes or no? Right? And suppose, so far so good, right? So far so good. Suppose I had O having a velocity 5 meters per second like this, upward, perpendicular to the plane, perpendicular to the line joining O and P, and this had 10 meters per second like this, and the separation between them was 15 meters. Now this is equivalent to, see, if I fix O, then what would be my velocity of P as seen by O? 15. It's going to be velocity of P 10 minus velocity of O, which is minus 5, which is 15 meters per second is the velocity of P as seen by O, perpendicular to OP, right? This time these velocities are getting added up, right? And if the separation is 15 meters, what would be my omega? Omega would be 15 divided by 15, which is 1 radian per second. And do you realize what I've done? And realize OP this time is getting reoriented clockwise. If OP is getting reoriented clockwise, omega is clockwise, and the thumb goes into the plane of the board. So in this case, the direction of the omega vector is into the plane of the board. The direction of the omega vector is into the plane of the board. Yes or no? Right? And so this was the angular velocity r cross v by r squared, right? If O also had motion, then the angular velocity vector of P as seen by O would be given by r cross the relative velocity of P. VREL is what? Relative velocity of P as seen by O divided by r squared. That's the angular velocity vector in a very general sense of P with respect to O. Do you all understand this properly? When O is not fixed, then instead of V, we'll take relative velocity of P with respect to O. Right? And perform this operation. That will give me the angular velocity vector.